So right, but somebody will have to do the. It can't be too close to this. Yeah. No. I don't want to be somebody who's going to move the slides. I can do that. Yeah. Okay. So then that's fine. I'll write here. Yeah. You can sit down at one place so we can focus the camera. Oh. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's try that. Jai Jinendra. Thank you all for being here, and I hope you all are in Sata, doing tapasya to the best that you can. And can we go to the next slide, Nikhil bhai? Yes, so since we are very few people, we can all join hands and do Nokar Mantra. Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayaryanam, Namo Uvajjayanam, Namo Loye Savvasahunam, Eso Panchanamukaro, Savva Pava Panasano, Mangalanancha Savvesim, Paramam Havai Mangalam. Thank you. Next. The whole basis or the center of Jain religion rests on Ahimsa Paramo Dharma. Now, what does that mean? Dharma is duty, so Ahimsa is our supreme duty. So Ahimsa, non-violence, compassion, pretty close. So it's fair probably to say that compassion is the supreme duty of an individual. And scriptures do tell us specifically, do not injure, abuse, oppress, enslave, insult, torment, torture, or kill any living being, including plant and vegetables. And still, we do have to eat to survive. We'll get to that. The intention to harm and the absence of compassion is what makes it violent. Next. How do you define compassion? Books have described it as a verb. So then if you say verb, then you don't need to describe it. It's a convenient way, but in other spiritual world, it just means it's love in action. And if you read Bhagavan Mahavir, true compassion is summation of sympathy, emotional feeling of their pain and or suffering, the desire to help the less advantaged living beings and help them in any way they can be. It's very broad, very easy to understand. Is it easy to practice? It just depends upon us about how we take it and what we call it. It's very easy to understand if somebody is sick. Yeah, we feel that he's suffering, she's suffering. But we go to an ice cream store and don't find our choice of flavor. Will we call it a suffering? Yeah, especially if it's a 5-year-old kid, definitely, because he's not going to understand at first. For adults, it may be a little bit less. So sufferings are different next for different people. And these are the 4 most important way and components of compassion. First and foremost, cognitive awareness of suffering. So that person who is sick, we need to have the awareness about the patient, the person who might be suffering or living being who might be suffering. Now, the question is, can we exactly feel what that living being is going through? Not really. But Lord and scriptures say that if we can make that feeling to the best that it can be within us, that's what is the meaning of cognitive awareness. So let's move on, that we are pretty close to what that person might be thinking. Then it's our emotional response to that suffering. And that's relatively easy too, about feeling sorry for the person, for the living being, for whatever that is, even for the child that he didn't get his choice of ice cream. Why not? Then the third component is the wish that we could do something for it. And that's the motivational part, that we feel motivated. Now, we feel motivated, are we going to do things every time? Not necessarily, but I'll tell you a story. We were doing a grocery drive in one of the temples in Norway, and there were about 25 volunteers. One Spanish lady with a 5-year-old daughter and a 12-month-old daughter in the stroller. We see that she's coming, walking, she comes, asks for groceries, she picks up grocery which weighs about 10 pounds, puts it and start driving. It was the month of May, 12:15, so you can imagine the heat in Los Angeles city. And somebody was so kind and nice, took the car, went next to them and said, "Do you need a ride?" And she said, "Yeah." Okay. Stroller is in, kids are in. Okay. Person asked, "Where do you live?" She says, "No English." The person says, "No Spanish." But obviously, she's smart enough. So she had the address in the phone. So she saws the address. Car goes, drops her near her apartment. It was 2 miles away from that place. Imagine. She had walked 2 miles to pick up those groceries during COVID time. I think that's compassion in action. Sorry, with the 2 small kids. 2 small kids, and she was going back with 10 pounds of grocery. So that's the fourth part, readiness to act. If you want to go in the history, I do believe in telling the real life stories more in relation to the present context than going back in the history a lot, but I will still take you there. It was August of 1946 when there was a large mob with guns and other violent instruments, and they were trying to attack the British government office. And Mahatma Gandhi just came out, obviously with no violent means, stood in front of them and calmed them down. And at that time, this is what Lord Mountbatten said: "What a battalion could not have achieved has been achieved by this frail man and has saved India from a conflagration." And that word is huge. I did not know the meaning, but now I know. It's a large fire. So that was what the Britishers were anticipating, which did not happen. Next. So that's compassion. How many types of compassion? Most of the times we will just think of number 1, compassion for others. Yeah, people suffer, living being suffers, go and help in any which way you can. Have you ever thought about self-compassion? It is, if not more, equally important. And we all had our own share of experiences, examples, acts. I'll share you mine. If you can see this big scar. I was in an accident 6 years ago. And the tragedy was, it was my right arm and 2 fractures in the left leg. So if you ever think, try it. When the cross are gone, you're totally useless because you can't even sit up, you can't even move. If you move this side, this hurts. If you move this side, this arm is going to hurt. So like this, you know, and obviously I survived, and but I did not hesitate at that point of seeking help from people. I did ask my wife to make 2-3 calls for people to come help, but in those 10 weeks of ordeal, we certainly learned a lot about both of us, me and my wife. And I learned myself, and one important thing, and Lord Mahavir will pardon me for not only this, but saying some of the things, but water and shower are overrated. You don't need to shower every day, unless you are coming to do the puja. But no, I couldn't do it. How can you go? I mean, no. Enough of that. Next. So what are the signs and attributes? It's described that care for well-being of others, sensitivity to understand what others are going through and feeling their pain. You know, I have learned something. I'm a medical doctor, for especially you may not know, or of course my name was doctor, so. But this is very important. Before this seminar that I attended in the hospital a few years back, I always used to say when somebody is at it, I know what you're going through. And a couple of times, patients kind of have not agreed or disliked or made a face. I never understood why. But then when we were going through this seminar, that's when the teachers and so said, never say that I understand what you're going through, because no two beings are in the same position at any given time. So the best you can say, I will try my best to understand, but I want to hear from you about what are you going through. That's a good way, right way to express, rather than saying, I know what you're going through. No, you don't. We never know. Empathy, being mindful of other people's emotions. And many times we just end at empathy, and which is fine, but I think compassion is obviously way beyond that. Empathy, a lot of people will feel. Some of them will wish we can help, but only a few will go to the final step of doing something for whatever has happened. Desire to help others, action to alleviate others' suffering. And the last is very key too, feeling gratitude when other people express compassion for your own hardships. And that should include even the family members and immediate friends. We take them for granted, but no, we should not. Next. Another famous saying, Parasparop Graho Jivanam. I'm sure you've heard this many times. Let me just define as I have understood specifically from today's lecture's perspective. All living beings are integral to each other by mutual support and interdependence and need to coexist together. All living beings are connected in nature, dependent on each other for continued survival. I mean, as simple as, could I have just come in with my presentation and done this? No. It's Nikhil Bhai, Andy, Narendra Bhai Parmar, Maniyar was here, so that's just a small bit. But this device, this camera, all those things are needed for our survival. It teaches us the philosophy of reciprocity, mutual care and share, universal love and compassion, sympathy, fellowship and participation. If you dissect each verse, we can be here for a long time, obviously, but it covers a lot. And that is what Jain philosophy has taught us. And then I will, with permission from Lord Mahavir, I would like to change, or not change, but extend the Jain motto. Live and let live is very, very famous, right? I think for compassion, I will expand it to live and help others live. That's the big part of Jain practice, philosophy, religion, belief, dharma. So this is an essential part of the conduct that destroys the evil of self-esteem and pride. This creates kindness and generates helping attitude towards others, written by Acharya Sri Umaswati ji in Acharanga Sutra. Next. Before I move on, I'd like to give the 4 important components that we touched. And there are different ways it has been stated, all just one word, but whatever makes this easy for us to remember. What we talked about is cognitive, emotional, motivational, and behavioral. The other way to look at it is awareness, empathy, intention, and action. And if you want to be really simple, think, feel, intend, and act. It's just, I thought it's pretty interesting about how different perspectives or different words have been used. And Dr. Ekman and Dalai Lama's quote is very good too about compassion. They say that compassion is a concern to alleviate the suffering of all living beings, regardless of their nationality, language, culture, or religion. In other words, there isn't a single religion which believes in Hinsa. It's just that Jain religion goes a bit further. And that's what brings us about vegetarianism. Do not kill a living organism by thought, speech, body, knowingly or unknowingly. And that's why we are not only vegetarian, but do not eat roots not only grown underground, but even things that have more seeds. And each seed is considered potential life. And yesterday we had very interesting discussion about to eat mushroom or not, spinach or not. I'm not going to go into that. But I will try to answer, why is it okay to eat plants? Next. I picked this from a scripture, and that is why I added the word other. I personally do not like to say subhuman beings, because who knows, you and I will be in that life, in next life, or we were there in previous life. So these are other lives, but not necessarily subhuman. But the lives or beings are divided according to number of senses. Sense of touch, taste, smell, sight, and hearing. And life with one sense, touch. In water, that's amoeba. In air, that's viruses. There's life in soil, fire, and plant. Next. So plant is the only one that has only one sense. And as per scriptures, if you have to hurt, you build less bad karma by hurting people with lower senses. That's the whole fundamental of why do we eat plant to live. So life with senses of touch and taste, touch, taste, and smell, touch, taste, smell, and sight, and finally, human beings. And I did not realize that so many of the birds and animals also have 5 senses. So, and this is what Lord Mahavir said that we all follow. We should love all living beings and not hurt any. Help others, make each other happy. Hold on to that happy part. To understand the pain and unhappiness that others are feeling is kindness. And Jain religion is based on that kindness to all living beings. Next. Now, I'm going to take you on to what is good about compassion. Besides, we're helping somebody, but is there anything that good for me, for you, for the person who is doing it? And there is. Giving and receiving both have good psychological feeling. And the studies have found that compassionate people, especially those who volunteer and give help to underprivileged people, live longer. It also leads to a life of purpose. And they experience eudaimonic. Again, I did not know that word, but now I know and I'll share with you. It's a term for the highest human good in older Greek tradition. So that is eudaimonic happiness. It's a kind of happiness that comes from living a meaningful life that involves helping others. They feel lower levels of depression, stronger immunity, and less inflammation. These are all research-based information. And a lot of people are doing a lot of compassionate things in this building for last 8 days for sure, but a lot more days. It also helps to improve relationship, as compassionate practices are key factors for mental well-being. And compassion is its own reward. Story came in mind, but I'll hold it till the end. But research has also shown that giving money to underprivileged people has a greater kind feelings and rewards to individuals than to use that money to buy things for yourself. You buy a new shirt, let's say it costs $15, and you donate that $15. The feeling of the shirt, how long it's going to last? After 1 or 2 wear, it's just another shirt, right? But that $15 might have helped the other person so significantly. So that's general emotion, also described as compassion, is the single most predictor of a happy relationship. So go and do something to help someone. It will definitely help. Next. I'm going to share in next few slides some of the things that we have done and also tell you what's bad about compassion. So we have had very good fortune to participate in many fundraisers. All that you can see here are listed in last 16 years, including COVID. And after the earthquake in Bhuj, actually some of the people, and that was in 2001. So few people, Dr. Manibhai Mehta, Rasmibai Shah, Mr. B.U. Patel, they actually traveled to India to help people. And of course, we raised about close to $500,000 and sent it. We did many other things in India following that. And many similar stories in some of these things I will share. Next, I think I have a slide. So this is during COVID. We were doing grocery drives right here outside. We did it for 7 Sundays. Next. Next. Okay. So this is in Nepal. You saw me 2015 Nepal earthquake. We were there in 2016, me and my wife. Visited some of the areas affected and also went into 2 hospitals because Bidra hospital that we support from here wanted to help them. And we settled that we should go and help in Siddhi Memorial Hospital. So with the help of, these are all 4 from Bidra, is Vijay Bhai Chera, the current chairman. Him and Mukesh Bhai Doshi is the director of the Rehab Institute, and the other 2 are technicians from there. And there is a Siddhi Smriti Pratishthan, which is a rehab department established in Kathmandu, Nepal, with the funds that we have raised in Los Angeles with the help of Bidra Trust. What are the skills? What can we do the moment you walk out of here or even before? So many things are so simple, and we all do that. And yet, we all have our slips. And the whole idea is that how can we help ourselves to not slip those steps as often? Can we always speak with kindness? Can we listen carefully and without judgment? Be patient. Apologize when you made a mistake. Encourage other people for whatever good they are doing that we believe we like. Offer to help someone with a task. Just give you the example. The lady was working with 2 little girls in a heat. Offer him a ride. Be happy for someone else's success. Equally important. Forgive people for making mistakes. Show respect, express gratitude and appreciation. Next. This is a picture of Eye Care Mission to Jamaica. We've been there 5 times. We'll be there in October again. This is very specific and geared to perform cataract surgeries. And we started this by invitation from Dr. Kiran Patel from Florida. He said, I have a group of people who need this. Can you go and help? And this time, actually, our team is getting bigger and bigger. We're 22 people. On an average, we were 13, 14 before. So, next. So this is the Bidra Trust that I told you about. But I'm not repeating, but I want to show you something now. We have been talking about all living beings. How often, besides, yeah, we should not walk on the grass. I think I try my best. We all try our best. But what more? I'll tell you another story. One Thanksgiving. This was 2018. We got a call from somebody in Montana. And this was about 3-4 weeks before Thanksgiving. He called that one of his turkey had lost a leg. Can you help to put this and get an artificial prosthesis? Of course, I don't know how did he got the number, but he said that you will be able to reach somebody in India and do it. And knowing me, I said, yeah, sure, we'll do our best to help. So I called this gentleman, Mukesh Doshi. He's in Mumbai. And I said, we need this. What information will you need to make the prosthesis? And he sent me 2-3 things, which I forwarded, got it, sent it to India. And lo and behold, on the Thanksgiving, we were fortunate to help one turkey with an artificial leg so that the turkey can walk. That's what this institute has embarked on, besides doing a wonderful job with India. This was built in 2005, and the story is that after the earthquake, they had treated 30,000 patients who were affected by the earthquake in Bhuj at Bidra Hospital. And they realized that people who have lost their lives, unfortunate, gone, but gone. But people who have survived, lost a leg, arm, etc., how do we get them back to be productive of some sort? They will need prosthesis. And Bidra is in such a remote area that it was hard. So they built this, This has happened with the help of Arvind Bhai and Jayaben from Detroit. They are the main sponsors, and that's why it's called Jaya Rehabilitation Institute. But after starting that, what they embarked on, out of this world. Next. Can you imagine this? Prosthesis for cows. This is made right there locally, and look at 90% acceptance rate. If you ever had a unfortunate time with yourself or your loved one who have had a fracture or cast or something, you know how difficult it is to rehabilitate, and I'll tell you my story. After this accident, about 7-8 weeks, I'm kind of excited, and the therapist comes home and says, I'm going to take you up today. So we have 14 steps in the house. So we go up, I'm happy, holding hand, and you know, this leg is better. The realization came when I reached up, and of course, he never told me before. He says, have you thought, doctor, how are you going to go down? I said, no. Well, imagine, you can't put pressure on the right hand, so now I'm up here, right? You can't turn around and start going down. Okay, so what are my options? Either you sit down and go, or you walk down backwards. So I was up like this, and I started going down. This much instructions to me. How are we going to give instructions to these cows to accept this prosthesis? And yet, they were fortunate for 90%. Next. This cat is paraplegic. As you can see, the hind legs. This little device made her walk again. Simple thing, matter of thinking. Next. What is the downside of compassion? Have you ever thought? Before I go on, simple thing, anything in excess could be poison, even love. And that's what this is. You really have to find your niche. Otherwise, there is a well-known phenomenon called compassion fatigue. It involves feelings of physical and emotional exhaustion, as well as a mental withdrawal from traumatized individuals. It can reduce feelings of empathy and compassion for people who are in need of help. Now, how can we get over? Mindful meditation. Mindfulness meditation. Can we all do that? It's hard, not easy. So, the important message is, while it's great to have compassion for others, it's also crucial that you take the time you need for self-care, whatever that can be. In my case, I'll tell you simply, I just want to start a movie and go to sleep. I may sleep, may not sleep, but that's my mental takeoff. Or just go somewhere with my wife for dinner. I'm good to go again. But everybody needs to find this. And this is so crucial. I'll tell you a story of 2012. Right here, for the first time, we were doing free surgeries in Western Eye Medical Center. And we had set up Saturday and Sunday to do that. We treated 27 patients. We recruited 22 professionals to do it. We were all so excited at the end of Sunday. Oh my God, this is what we have been dreaming since 2005. It had taken 7 years to reach there. A week later, I called the the administrator of the hospital, that, what more can we do and all that. Can you imagine the answer? No. The employees refused to participate again. We have not gone back in last 10 years ever. Actually, we don't even talk about it anymore. But that's compassion fatigue. Very unfortunate. And had I known at that time, I would have said, no, let's not do both the days. Let's still do one day, 10 hours, that's fine, so that we can come back. But that's how we learned from that. From 2015, we have started working in another facility, and that has been going. Now, this year we do actually 2 days a month. But we do 7, 8 patients. We are finished by 3, 4 o'clock. So it's good. Next. I like this picture, right? This is from Zambia. In this little plane, we fly from a city called Kitwe, and Mambilima is this place. And we always get so many kids to come out on this runway, and we go work there 2, 3 days and then do mission in other parts of the city. This is a place where we keep going year after year after year. So there was an ENT surgeon from India that we sponsored just last week, and he did 78 operations on children and finished. Next. How to be more compassionate. If you have figured out a part of your life for compassion of any kind, persistent is the key. And remember, you've got to figure out what is that you need for your self-care from this commotion, because compassion and work is one part, your family is another, and your work is other. But unless you don't have desire, nobody can tell me that I don't have an hour in a week that I can give for something. We all can, but not everybody does. Focus on feeling how they might be feeling. Let go of judgment. This is, again, when people used to call me, I would say 20 years ago, oh, when I am this many years old, when my child is out, this, that, that's when I would do. And at first, kind of, if you want to do it, you can do it. But anyway, but now, fine. Everybody has a time in their life when they will let go of themselves to go and do something. What that is not important as long as it's a selfless service to anywhere, anybody. A lot of people serve this center. So that's all good, but do not judge. Just accept. Okay, how much can you do? I'll tell you the story of this Sunday, actually. I met this lady only Sunday before, not yesterday, but last Sunday. Introduced to me by Dr. Paryushan, and we are all volunteers at Sanatan Temple here, where we have been making 1,500 to 2,000 meals every single Sunday since 2020 May. So he said to me that she wants to kind of do this at her home or in another place. So I talked to her that, what you used to do. And she says, oh, we used to cook about 50 to 100 meals, go to Long Beach, she lives in Cerritos, and distribute. But it was very frustrating because we never found people. Sometimes it took long time, this, that, another. So I said, but you had no problem cooking and packing. She says, no. I said, what about if we take the other part away? Are you ready to restart? She says, let me think, but I really want to do this. Okay. So briefly talked with her husband. She has a husband, 10th grader and 6th grader, 2 kids, but they want to do it. Yesterday, she comes to me, doctor, I don't think we can do once a week. I said, I don't think we said that you have to do once a week. You decide which day, what part of the day, and for how many. Your job is to create the meals, pack it, and we will help you with volunteers, and then we will have people will come and pick it up at specific time. So now we have settled on once a month, Saturday afternoon. So we'll start with 100 to 150 meals, and it will be on Saturday afternoon. She says the pickup can happen at 3:30 or 4 o'clock. 2 Sundays, 2 meetings, never knew before. She moved from Bay Area to here 3 years ago. So I said, your call. We are here to support. We do every Sunday. We haven't stopped a single Sunday since 2020, May 10. But that's not what everybody will do, or that's not what we expect everybody to do. And practice mindfulness. Focus on the present. Mindfulness-based interventions can be effective for improving self-compassion. Try loving kindness meditation, also called compassion meditation. I have not learned more about how to do that. Next. During COVID-19, we've been to many places in 19 and all of a sudden we realized that is it. We can't go anywhere. So we started working locally. And we were fortunate. We could do many things locally, involve a lot of people. Work with India, Ghana, Nigeria also without traveling. We were able to give 11,000 plus vaccines. Every Saturday we were setting up the vaccine mission and our average was 1,000 plus people for 10 Saturdays and then we stopped. Next. This is with the help of Sarvamangal Family Trust and Anukampa Community Center. We donated refurbished laptops. The numbers are growing. We started with 500 and we have easily crossed 5,000 plus now, and that's a project that we haven't even closed. Fine. If somebody wants 25, we'll be happy to give 25. Next. We also organized an art contest last year, pretty interesting, and it was all the way from 3 or 5 years of age going to professionals. I think I've taken about 40 minutes. Give me another 5, I make you laugh, and then you can leave. I don't know whether you are still with me or not. But I have some fun thing next. Go ahead. So if you agree with Dalai Lama, he believes that the purpose of our life is to seek happiness. Remember I told you earlier too, that hang on to that happiness. I'm born Indian, raised Indian, now American, in between was in Africa, but I had to go to China to find the secret of my happiness. And that's the proverb. Next. If you want to be happy for an hour, take a nap. Yeah, I do that in between at work. Luckily, I have a closed office, so nobody watches. Next. If you want to be happy for a day, go golfing. Next. Are you married? Okay, well, don't tell this to your wife, okay? I can say that because my wife isn't here. So if you want to be happy for a month, get married. Next. Yeah, sure. Go back. Good? Next. If you want to be happy for a year, inherit a fortune. Ladies and gentlemen, money will keep you happy only for so long because we can neither eat, drink, or sleep with the money. So, next. But if you want to be happy for a lifetime, go help someone else. This is my niece. This is from 2007. She was with us in Zambia, and she's a school teacher. So what we did is one afternoon, we just sent her to school to play with kids, besides helping in the medical mission. Next. Before this, when I gave this proverb to my daughter-in-law in 2007, that's when I got it first time. And she said, yeah, Dad, it makes you feel good when you help, but it doesn't last. I said, yeah, I know. That's why you need to do this every single day. This we picked up from Haiti. We were invited in an Indian military base for a dinner while we were volunteering after the Haiti earthquake. And I liked it. So accent may not always bring happiness, but there is no happiness without an accent. Next. So this is just my story. Keep going. True happiness comes from serving an unknown. Next. So before I put my last slide and tell you about the future opportunities, I'd like to beg forgiveness if I have said anything against Jain beliefs, philosophy, etc., for my ignorance. Next. So these are the opportunities for compassion in action in Southern California and around the world. There are health fairs every month. Our Hot Meals program continues. Chromebooks, iPad donation is still on if anybody wants. assist with technology if there are friends who can, to many non-profit organizations that we need. And if you want to travel outside, you're welcome to do so. Thank you very much. Appreciate everybody's time. Thank you. Thank you for people who are on YouTube. And any questions? Yeah, next month, September 9, next Friday, we are going to Ghana. This is also turning out to be a really big camp. Last mission was in last year. We didn't travel last month. We decided because of COVID not to go, but obviously I was helping everybody. We saw 9,600 patients in 5 cities last year. And this time we are doing it for 2 weeks. We will be there only for the first week. And we also screened 10,000 people for anemia last year. We are planning to do 5,000 this year, but with focus, probably women and young children. So that's in Ghana, then October, Jamaica, and Albania in December. And end of December, back to India. Yeah, the borders are open, so we will run. I actually have arranged UC Irvine anesthesia people to go to Bidra, so I go there maybe a day or two, but I do many others, so we will do about 7 others, including going to South this time. That will be first time. Were you there when the Union Minister, Mr. Muralidharan, was here in May? Yeah, so he asked me if we can help in Kerala. So we are working on it, and hopefully we'll do it on January 17, 18, 19. This is Trivandrum. Is that close there? More south. I will let you know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, sir. Whenever you and Suburban are ready, you guys have to do the work. So. Good. Thank you. Yeah. You can do it.
Just the end